Hi, my name is Simona Kraberger, and I am an assistant research scientist at Arizona State University. I did my PhD thesis, on global dynamics of a group of viruses called mastreviruses, which are agriculturally important plant infecting viruses. And my work now actually focuses on evolution and ecology of viruses in animals, plants, and environmental samples. I'm pretty proud of a lot of things I've been able to accomplish in my career so far. I would say probably the first thing is my first postdoc that I took in Colorado here in the US. I'm originally from New Zealand, and so it was a big deal for me to finish my PhD and move across the globe to the US and take on my first position as a scientist out of my PhD. It was quite daunting, but I'm incredibly proud of the collaborations I was able to make, the friends that I was able to make, and the science that I could do. I got some good publications out of it. And since then, I've just been really proud of being able to mentor a lot of students to publish some great research that I really loved doing. And yeah, just trying to be a better scientist. I think that's also what I'm proud of. I think for me in particular, it would relate to public speaking. So public speaking is something that I know a lot of people have a problem with, and is something that I have always struggled with, especially in a professional context to other scientists in my field. It can feel really daunting, and is something that I've really had a challenge with. And I would say that one experience that kind of stands out for me was that during my PhD period, I gave a talk, and I have this strange thing sometimes where I black out, which is obviously just a coping mechanism for being stressed. The whole thing did not go very smoothly, and obviously the more I got stuck, the more flustered I was, and it kind of spiraled a little bit from there. I got through it, but it wasn't great, and it didn't feel great. And at the end of the talk, I had someone that had also asked me a question that I couldn't really answer. And instead of just saying, hey, that's a great question, I don't really know, or I'll get back to you, I kind of fumbled, and I just didn't respond very well how I would have liked. And so for me, that was a huge failure, and something that, really kind of added to my challenge of public speaking. And I would also say that during my graduate career, I really also felt like a lot of imposter syndrome. And this is kind of a situation that kind of perpetuated that. So as a result of kind of that experience and some other ones, I felt disappointed, I felt anxious, I felt sadness, I felt frustrated at myself that I didn't handle this situation and other similar ones better. I think that I, as many people do, put lots of pressure on myself and have high standards that I feel like I can't live up to. So there was like a lot of emotions around it. And obviously in grad school, you're figuring out who you're becoming. And I know that they say your jobs shouldn't be who you are, but for me, it really is something that is part of my identity and something that I love. It's sometimes difficult to separate the two in terms of how you feel personally and how I feel professionally, because I care so much about what I do. So I think how it affects me personally and professionally was probably something pretty similar. I felt let down in myself, and it really made me question my work and my ability, and made me feel demoralized, honestly. I felt like maybe I shouldn't have been there, or maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. My mentor was incredibly supportive. He helped me work through it. He never made me feel bad about anything. And, but however, it definitely did affect how I moved forwards and my anxiety going into future presentations, because I already had preempted a lot of feelings around it, and I was already felt like I was going to fail. So I think that certainly did influence how I presented or how I felt moving in presentations forwards, in any situation where I was interacting with people that I really feel like were experts in the field. In a approaching these situations, giving myself time helped me deal with stress, as well as thinking about ways that I could be better prepared. Getting better at presentations, practicing them a lot was really how I coped a lot in the beginning. I would kind of memorize everything so that when I was stressed, then I could just get through it really easily. And today I'm at the point where I'm a little bit better, that I don't need to memorize, but I do have some mechanisms, like I kind of think of a starting sentence for every slide, and that helps me kind of reduce some of the anxiety of seeing a slide and not really knowing what's on there. I do think in grad school I procrastinated a lot in preparing for things, just because of my anxiety around it. And I now feel like I don't do that as much, and I kind of just prepare myself a lot better. Those are some coping strategies for me in the moment. So I think I learned techniques to be better prepared. I now know that it's okay to sometimes stumble a little bit. We all do. And try and just not like dwell on the dread and anxiety that kind of surrounds it. And also just to not have as much negative self-talk. It's easy to kind of put yourself down in your head. And so I think for myself, I've tried to just be a lot more positive and learned from the mistakes that I made that I'm trying not to do those mistakes again. My first advice would be to talk about your failures. I think you would be really surprised about how everyone, including probably those, professors or PIs that you admire the most, have had similar experiences, and they probably have some really good advice. So I think it can be really validating to know that you're not alone in whatever it is that you feel like you're having issues with, or you're not as good at, and they'll probably provide you with tools on how to get better and how to cope. I would say everybody, no matter what stage of their career in, have had these experiences. And so yeah, just knowing that we all have probably at some point in our life at least had this imposter syndrome, and so therefore just sharing that and talking with other people will help you to kind of to cope with that. And also just knowing that there's always somebody that's going to know more than you. And that's okay, that's how we learn from each other. Thanks for watching Fail Safe Science. My name is Simona, and I hope that this story helps you as a graduate student to know that you are not alone.